I have been saying yes to so many things, which is I love to do, but that is not something I can say yes to.
Okay, so have you read The Baby on the Fire Escape?
I own that book.
Incredible.
Love
That's where the Diane DePrima story came from. I think about that all the time. I loved that book. Amazing.
That was a bedside table pick for me. Although I don't have a bedside table, I have a bedside bookshelf because I know myself enough to know it would just be an avalanche of books. So I just put like a 4-shelf bookshelf right by my bed.
Have you read The Notebook? Because I saw in here a picture from your notebook. So okay, definitely read this.
Okay.
This is amazing. I love when people take things that you don't think there could be a book in. Like, it doesn't seem like it could be riveting, but it is. And it's like, obviously, and I'll connect it to this book, which is, have you read Papyrus?
No.
Okay, so this is about the history of scroll. So that's the history of notebooks, and this is the history of scrolls, which obviously predate notebooks. So it's like the idea of a bound notebook.
Sorry, this is just like perfectly super geek for me.
I know, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
This is like obviously bound notebooks, which don't really exist until basically right before the Renaissance. It's like 14th century Florence is when they start to do those. And then this is like, well, what is it? When they were like tiny little scrolls, and just the history of it. I would say they're both very good. This one is absolutely incredible, like a masterwork level of good.
Blurbs.
Yeah, that's the author. How did you get that? Like, they don't. I love when you see that. Okay, that book is great. Those two are great. What else do you like? What are you into these days?
I do read a lot of memoir. I read a lot of poetry, essay collections.
Have you read Conundrum by Jan Morris?
No.
So Jan Morris was born. Now I'm forgetting. Is it John or James? Yeah, James Morris. So a great British. First off, a war hero. Then he climbs Everest with Hillary. And then I'm messing up the pronouns on purpose, so I'm not being insensitive. But and then in like the 60s always realized it, but in the 60s or 70s goes under gender reassignment surgery, and
the 60s.
Yeah, and becomes Jan Morris. So all the books are like I read her as Jan Morris. She has this big history of the British Empire, and then I didn't know about the memoir, but the memoir is incredible, and it's I think. Obviously, what's Elliot Page's memoir is really good, but it's of this moment, so it's in response to so much, and you read it, and all the stuff and the debates and the whatever goes away, and it's just. And
this predates.
Yeah, just a human being wrestling with a profoundly unique human experience, who's also an incredible writer. It's like one of my favorite memoirs. I think I like that one.
Okay.
It's really, really good. And then also, just this beauty. I mean, she was married, and then so in the 60s this happening, and they have to split up, and then they get remarried when gay marriage is legalized. And so it's amazing.
I love that.
I love it. These are the doorstop biographies we're talking. Like, what would it be like to be in the middle of one of these books for like how long it takes? I can't wrap my head around it.
I can't even imagine. I mean, just the amount of research.
Yeah.
Alone.
Yeah, I mean, Robert Caro is still in Lyndon Johnson, and it's been like 50 years.
And that's like a lifelong obsession.
Yeah, and it's a race against time.
Right?
No, it's incredible.
Like, this is my life's work. This is what I'm going to do.
But there would be there would be some sense that you're not, I don't know, like, how do you, like, I imagine it's, to do this would be like, it feels like your life's work. But then you finish and then you do this. Like, how do you start over? And like, at least these two are related. Like, I'm sure there's like a lot of overlap between Washington and Hamilton.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to segue right over there.
Well, you've done some of the research. You've already read the letters, you know the people. But then it's like, no, now I'm going to do this Rockefeller. Right. So you're like, none of the research. None of that's
going to be pertinent.
Yes, exactly. I have to totally immerse myself in a completely new field. That would be nuts.
Yeah, suddenly my transition from like poem A to poem B feels a little weak. Like, oh, I guess I'll finish this poem about a tree and I'll start writing this other one about a different tree. It feels a little less hair.
Well, and then also just dwarfs all your accomplishments. Like I was reading that he cut 250,000 words out of The Power Broker. So
I've never written anything that long in my life.
I think I've just recently, all my books combined would be that. Like what he left.
Oh, I'm not there.
Yeah.
I'm not anywhere near there. I remember when my editor was like, I think your target word count for the memoir is, I don't know, I think she said 65,000 words or something. And my first impulse was, how many sonnets is that?
Right, yeah.
Because we don't care about word count as poets. We care about line count sometimes, syllable count sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, it's not about word count.
But if you did, you'd be like, well, that's a 27-word poem. So
exactly. Yeah.
It just makes the whole task seem like unfathomably hard.
Yeah. When your prose writer friends are posting on social media about how many thousand words they knocked out that day, and you're like, I moved 4 adjectives around for 2 hours.
Yeah. I did the first line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I nailed it. And that's not nothing.
I think, to me, word count is bullshit, though, because some of my best writing days, I had negative word count.
Yeah, exactly. The trim days are sometimes better than the ad days.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is funny, though, yeah. You're measuring your progress on the way up one way, and then it's like measuring your progress by the removal on another day.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other things that, like, because you've obviously read a lot, so I'm trying to think of things that you wouldn't maybe have read or normally get. Have you read this? This is one of my favorite books.
No.
So Kafka writes this letter to his father. You know, like, this is the analogy I've given someone before. You know, like Family Day in rehab, where family comes in and you tell them, like, all the things that they did to screw you up.
No, I don't know that,
but
it sounds like a thing.
No, it's a thing. It's a part of the recovery process where you get all the skeletons and secrets out in the open.
It's not the intervention. It's like the kind of an amends kind of thing where you sit down.
No, it's more like it's usually calling your parents in and making it clear how they have in fact contributed to all. Like you go, hey, you know my child was horrible, right?
Right.
I realize you don't see it this way, so you can look at yourself
in
the mirror. But like, let me go. He does a version. He writes this letter to his father that he never sends, and it's all about why they never gelled, and he basically had this sort of business father who was upset that he had an artistic, sensitive boy, and it's all him trying to sort of articulate what that felt like and what it meant and how he's still wrestling with it.
Probably realizing the futility of her son's gesture, Julie Kafka did not deliver the letter, but instead returned it to its author.
There you get a sense of the dynamic right there.
That's really something.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was probably better for having written it.
Can you imagine, though? He gave this to his mother and said, hey, give this to Dad. And she's like, no.
But isn't that it's the dynamic. It's, even if one is the problem, the other parent is contributing to, like,
there's something going on there. That's
Totally.
a whole thing.
Yeah,
okay.
It's really good.
Well, that's going to make me read all of Kafka just a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Right? That's a frame of reference I did not have.
Yes. Yeah. And then, he wasn't just this person who made these things I like, but like a person struggling with like his
wounds,
shitty parents.
Because we all have them.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes. And and then you can see like probably why it was, I don't know, why he would take certain things personally and want to do certain, the psycho analysis of the character is interesting. I read a lot. It's sort of my job. You can't write without reading. For almost 15 years now, once a month, I send out an email with my favorite book recommendations for that month. Books that I've been reading, books that I've been going through, books that changed my life, that inspired me, that I think connect to what's happening in the world. And you can sign up right now at ryanholiday.net/reading list.